In the realm of human relationships, a certain perception forms even before the first word is spoken. This isn't just about appearance or style of dress, but something deeper. As Louise Hay, a well-known figure in personal growth, asserted, our energy can speak for us even in moments of silence. And this is indeed the case. Men with developed sensitivity and emotional intelligence are capable of perceiving much more than just words. While many women believe that male attraction is determined solely by external factors, the true signs of interest are hidden in the nuances. There is a kind of secret language manifested in how a woman appears in society, how she interacts with the world around her, and how she positions herself. This includes micro-gestures, subtle details, fleeting glances, spontaneous movements, and even how she holds her silence. These aspects, often unnoticed by the woman herself, are perceived as powerful signals by those who are observant. Magnetism lies not only in external appearance, but also in the energy emanating from within. Louise Hay repeatedly emphasized the importance of self-esteem and the energy we radiate. It is this, not clothing or makeup, that has the greatest impact. A woman doesn't necessarily have to speak to express her essence. Sometimes her behavior speaks louder than any words. The way she listens, the depth of her gaze, the pace of her speech, and even moments of silence reveal facets of her personality. It's not just the tone of voice that matters, but what it conveys: calmness, confidence, or a need for validation. An attentive man can easily discern whether a woman speaks from a sense of inner confidence or in search of approval. As Louise Hay tirelessly emphasized, true strength lies in communication stemming from self-love, not from desperate need. Look at body language. It's an eloquent autobiography unfolding in every movement. The gait, the way of sitting, the ease in posture or stiffness breaking through gestures. All this speaks volumes. An attentive observer notices whether a posture exudes confidence or betrays hidden tension and insecurity. Is the gaze direct and confident or evasive? Is she present here and now or dreaming of disappearing? These signals reflect a deep connection with oneself. Louise taught that the relationship with oneself is the foundation of all other relationships, and this is manifested in the smallest, seemingly insignificant details. Authenticity is evident even in the ability to listen. Some women listen only to prepare their response, to show off their knowledge, to maintain control. But there are those who truly listen, establishing a connection, giving their attention as a priceless gift. This insightful gaze, which doesn't just observe but deeply understands, makes a huge difference. The connection that arises with a woman who is fully present in the moment cannot be faked, and emotionally mature men instantly sense this. As Louise Hay said, power lies in presence. In the same vein, a woman who has reconciled with her femininity possesses magnetic appeal. This isn't about following traditional roles or fitting into imposed patterns. It's something much more subtle and authentic, a natural elegance born from the freedom not to impress. It's not flashy makeup that makes her special, but the confidence with which she wears it. It's not the brand of clothing, but the ability to create her own unique style. Louise asserted that by accepting ourselves completely, we radiate a unique light. It is this that attracts men, an energy that doesn't seek approval because it already feels self-sufficient. Pay attention to her manner of communicating with others in situations where there is no need to make an impression. Not when she is surrounded by friends or on a romantic date, but in moments of interaction with people whose opinions don't affect her status: waiters, doormen, random passers-by. It is here that her true nature is revealed. Genuine kindness, respect, devoid of selfish motives, sincere compassion. These simple but profound expressions of humanity reveal her authentic character. Louise Hay spoke of respect as a manifestation of self-love reflected in the world around us. And this is true. A person who respects themselves also treats others with respect. Even her appearance speaks of much more than just a desire for beauty. It's not about chasing luxury or unattainable ideals, but about the harmony between inner state and external appearance. Well-groomed hands, clean hair, a fragrance that matches her energy, neat clothes and shoes, all these details wordlessly declare, "I value myself." And this is one of the deepest forms of beauty. Louise Hay emphasized that self-care is not a manifestation of vanity, but an act of love for oneself. And of course, it is impossible to fake laughter. That spontaneous, genuine laughter, bursting forth without filters or the desire to impress. A woman who allows herself to laugh wholeheartedly, without worrying about how she will be perceived, possesses incredible appeal. There is laughter full of calculation, rehearsed, seeking approval, and then there is laughter like an explosion of freedom. Louise Hay always maintained that joy plays an important role in healing. An attentive man will definitely notice this. There are women who, when laughing, illuminate the space not with the sound of laughter itself, but with the inner freedom it reflects. No less eloquently about a woman speaks the energy with which she fills each day. This is not about feverish multitasking, but about the life spark that is transmitted by her mere presence. There are women who, regardless of age, seem to radiate genuine enthusiasm, a thirst for life, and powerful motivation. Conversely, sometimes young women seem extinguished, as if some internal force has left them. A discerning man pays attention not only to passport data, but also to the energy that a woman invests in her existence. Louise Hay, a renowned psychologist, repeatedly emphasized that our beliefs and thoughts directly shape our reality. And this is not just theory. It is felt. It is noticeable in every manifestation. Even silence becomes a reflection of her inner world. Many women mistakenly believe that it is necessary to constantly fill the space with words, as if silence causes awkwardness or loss of interest. However, there is something magnetically attractive in a woman who is not afraid of emptiness, who knows how to simply be herself, without obtrusiveness or the desire to embellish reality. In this silence, a powerful clarity is born, which a mature man will certainly appreciate. True connection does not need excessive noise. Louise Hay actively promoted meditations and self-analysis practices as tools for self-discovery, emphasizing that the ability to feel comfortable in silence sometimes attracts more strongly than thousands of eloquent phrases. Finally, there are moments when no one is watching, those small decisions that a woman makes alone with herself, when there is no need to prove anything to anyone. How she maintains order in her personal space, how she conducts her internal dialogue, how she takes care of herself without prying eyes. This inner integrity, the harmony between thoughts, feelings, and actions, this is what truly defines her worth. Louise Hay asserted that genuine transformation occurs in solitude when there are neither applause nor criticism, and it is precisely this that men with developed emotional intelligence unmistakably grasp, even if others do not notice it. In the raging ocean of life's trials, two types of women can be observed. Some passively await a miraculous resolution of problems, as if from a fairy tale, while others hide behind a mask of ostentatious helplessness, naively believing that fragility is a way to avoid responsibility and wait for a savior. However, there is also a third category, women who, remaining true to their feminine nature, exhibit incredible resilience, grace, and courage. They meet difficulties with unwavering calm, without unnecessary drama or complaints about fate. As the insightful Louise Hay said, "True resilience is born when a person finds faith in their inner strength." This unique blend of softness and firmness, tenderness and willpower possesses incredible appeal to emotionally mature men. It is not about superficial impression, but about the deep inspiration that comes from such a woman. It is important to understand the difference between healthy independence and building an impregnable wall around oneself. Unfortunately, many mistakenly take coldness for strength, believing that protection lies in completely rejecting love and vulnerability. But men who possess true vision and have done serious work on themselves do not succumb to the deceptive impression of external rigidity. They value the rare ability to balance, the ability to find the golden mean. A woman who intuitively feels when to erect a barrier and when to open her heart, when to guide with firmness and when to allow herself to be led without fear, possesses truly valuable wisdom. This ability to navigate between opposites without perceiving life in black and white is a sure sign of deep self-knowledge. Louise Hay wisely stated that the inner harmony we cultivate within ourselves is invariably reflected in every choice we make and in every relationship we maintain. It is not a flawless appearance that is etched in a man's memory, but the inner strength, the emotional impact that it evokes. Many women mistakenly believe that they will be remembered for their bright packaging, for their outfit, for their striking makeup, or for their flawless image in a photograph. However, in reality, the indelible impression is made by the feeling that a woman gives a man, a sense of peace, inner warmth, and self-confidence. A self-sufficient woman does not need to raise her voice or attract undue attention. Her presence speaks for itself. It is this inner harmony, this genuine sincerity, that leaves a deep mark, far more significant than a fleeting visual impression. As Louise Hay wisely noted, our inner energy has a powerful echo that continues to resonate even after we are gone. Unfortunately, many women underestimate the degree of observation that men possess. They believe that men only notice obvious, deliberately flaunted details. However, men with developed emotional intelligence see much deeper. They do not dwell on the surface. They are attracted to what happens on the edge of interaction, in those fleeting moments when authenticity manifests itself without embellishment. It is in these brief seconds of truth that the deepest, most sincere connections are born. Ultimately, it is not bright makeup, a sculpted figure, or fashionable clothes that leave an indelible mark, but the harmony between a woman's inner world and what she broadcasts to the outside world. It is her worldview, her unique way of moving through life, sometimes without realizing the effect she has on others. Louise Hay asserted that our energy precedes our words, and this is what men with a fine mental organization infallibly grasp. Observing a woman, we see how she manifests herself in moments of disappointment and minor troubles, which inevitably arise in everyday life. It is the ability to cope with surprises, not fleeting joys, that reveals true character. Critical situations, when everything goes awry, when criticism falls, or something knocks you off track, become a moment of truth, demonstrating her true essence. Some women, faced with the first difficulties, lose their composure, show an excessive reaction, or look for someone to blame outside. Others, on the contrary, remain calm, analyze the situation, and continue to move forward, remaining true to themselves and not allowing circumstances to extinguish their inner light. This ability to emotionally support oneself, consciously respond to challenges, and not blindly react to them, does not go unnoticed. Louise Hay, a well-known psychologist, argued that we are responsible for our reactions, and it is in this responsibility that our strength lies. Men who clearly know what they want from life notice this trait in a woman much faster than any other gesture or external manifestation. Confidence in one's own judgments and decisions is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can possess. This is not about ostentatious independence or arrogant, "I don't need anyone," behind which often hides only a protective armor. It is about calm, inner confidence, about that strength of spirit that does not need to be demonstrated to others. A woman who makes decisions with a clear understanding, who can express her desires openly without manipulation, who knows when to firmly say no without feeling guilty and when to enthusiastically say yes, exudes a magnetism that cannot be ignored. There is a huge difference between someone who is constantly seeking approval and someone who acts based on inner confidence. The first type of woman exhausts those around her, while the second leaves an indelible impression. Even the way you manage your time can tell you a lot about the maturity of your feelings. It's not just about being on time, but what's behind it. Punctuality is a silent manifestation of respect for oneself and others, a recognition of the obligations undertaken. A woman who constantly postpones things without a good reason, is chronically late, or leaves everything to the last minute, demonstrates not only her disorganization, but also conveys her attitude to responsibility and attention to other people. Louise argued that every action reflects inner beliefs. By respecting one's own and other people's time, a woman seems to say without words, "You are important to me and I value myself." If you listen to conversations, you can see an even deeper reflection of personality. There are conversations that barely touch the surface, fashion, gossip, empty talk about nothing. But there are women who effortlessly turn any dialogue into a meaningful experience. They ask sincere questions, are not afraid to touch on complex topics, and enrich the meeting with their verbal presence. It is not about wanting to impress the interlocutor with abstruse words, but about the depth with which they live their thoughts. Louise Hay said that speaking sincerely is a manifestation of love, and it is felt. Men looking for something more than fleeting entertainment immediately notice this. Another important point is how a woman talks about her past. It's not about hiding your wounds or denying what you've been through, but how you talk about it. Some turn every story into a lament, listing the mistakes of others, while others, having gone through difficulties, learn lessons, heal, and let go of the past. Louise Hay taught that forgiveness is not about justifying what happened, but about freeing oneself from the burden that prevents moving forward. A man who looks to the future carefully observes whether a woman is attached to the past, or whether she has turned her story into wisdom rather than chains. Self-control, often remaining in the shadows, is a quality that attentive men notice in a woman, even if she doesn't try to show it off. It's not just the ability to be disciplined at work or follow established routines, but rather the ability to remain calm in moments of turmoil, not give in to fleeting impulses, and not allow minor troubles to overshadow the whole day. A woman who masters the art of managing her emotions exudes calmness and confidence, which makes her especially attractive. As Louise Hay wisely noted, we are not puppets in the hands of emotions, but creators of our own reality. And this inner harmony is reflected in the external world. How a woman takes care of her personal space, how she organizes her life, even the order or chaos in her car or on her desk. All of this speaks volumes. It's not about striving for perfection, but about a conscious intention to create an atmosphere of beauty and order around oneself. A woman who takes the time to arrange her surroundings demonstrates respect for herself and a desire to create a refuge that reflects her inner well-being. Louise Hay called home a sanctuary of the soul. A man notices this not by signs of luxury, but by the feeling of peace and harmony that permeates the space. Another manifestation of genuine confidence is the ability to manage the attention a woman receives. It's important to distinguish a woman who constantly needs universal attention to confirm her worth from one who knows how to accept admiration without becoming dependent on it. The difference lies in her energy. A woman who doesn't try to flirt with everyone to fill an emotional void, who doesn't use her attractiveness as a means of self-affirmation, exudes an inner strength that can disarm. A mature man can easily distinguish a woman who knows her worth from one who is only trying to convince others of her importance. As Louise Hay said, self-esteem is a silent act that manifests itself in all our actions. This inner compass of self-esteem is reflected in the delicate balance between insatiable ambition and sincere gratitude. There are people whose lives turn into an endless chase for the unattainable. They are consumed by a constant feeling of inadequacy, fueled by comparison with others. But there are also those who, without abandoning the desire for new heights, can deeply appreciate what has already been achieved, who celebrate their successes without a hint of boasting, feeling inner harmony without complacency. Louise Hay wisely stated that the universe generously rewards those who gratefully accept what they already have. And an attentive observer unmistakably catches this difference in an instant. One exudes a feeling of scarcity, the other, fullness of life. How a woman reacts to rejections and life's adversities also eloquently speaks of her character. There are those who turn every failure into a tragedy, who look for culprits outside just to avoid painful self-analysis, who give up at the first no. But there are others, Bihan, who, dusting off the dust of defeat, learn valuable lessons, become stronger without losing their inner softness. Louise Hay rightly noted that in every trial there is an opportunity for growth and development, and men who strive for deep and sincere relationships are drawn to women who don't have to be perfect to feel happy in harmony with themselves. And finally, there is something elusive that many feel but cannot put into words: the inner world that a woman exudes in moments of silence. There is great strength in the ability to simply be present, not filling all the space with words, not embellishing oneself, not demanding constant attention. This inner serenity, a sense of self-sufficiency without the need for external confirmation, has a truly magnetic attraction. A man who has learned to appreciate silence and peace will unmistakably distinguish a woman who enjoys her own company from one who is panicking at the thought of being alone with her thoughts. Louise Hay said it very clearly: when we feel fulfilled, we stop looking in the outside world for what is already inside us. Long before the words are spoken, an experienced man unmistakably catches something more: the very respect that a woman has for herself. That feeling is far from arrogance or a defensive reaction. It's not ostentatious pride. Rather, it's the inner confidence with which she sets personal boundaries, with which she treats herself in everyday life, defining what is acceptable and what is not. A woman who respects herself will not cheapen her dignity or adjust her personality to fit the expectations of others. As Louise Hay wisely noted, unconditional self-acceptance is the first step on the path to self-respect. And this acceptance inevitably reflects in her interactions with those around her. A man who has gone through his own path of personal growth instantly recognizes this quality. He sees when a woman takes care of herself consciously, when she doesn't waste her energy on just anyone, when her presence is a valuable gift, not a bargaining chip. And while many focus on external attributes, face, figure, style, the truth lies deeper. The most important thing that remains after she leaves is the impression she made, The aura she filled the moment with, her sincerity, calmness, and the inspiration she awakened in those who knew her. Women who have grasped this truth do not need to make an effort to impress. They understand that their true strength is not in their external appearance, but in the energy they radiate. Louise Hay accurately noted, "Our inner essence shines much brighter than any mask we can wear." Unfortunately, many are still convinced that men only notice the obvious: makeup, hairstyle, outfit. However, men with developed emotional intelligence see much more. They catch those subtle details that manifest spontaneously when a woman doesn't feel under scrutiny, when her true nature is revealed. They notice how she enters a room, the calmness with which she moves when she doesn't need to attract attention, how she behaves when no one is judging her. It is in these moments that what truly leaves a lasting impression lies. A woman's self-respect is an unmistakable indicator of how she will allow the world around her to treat her. It is not arrogance or insensitivity, but a clear awareness of her own worth, which requires neither extra words nor justifications. A real man will immediately sense whether she is able to confidently say no, whether she knows how to leave a toxic environment and avoid dismissive treatment without turning it into a tragedy. It's not about aggressive confrontation, but about demonstrating her inner strength, which clearly conveys that her dignity is inviolable. Even her walk speaks volumes. There are people who are constantly rushing somewhere, pursuing unclear goals, as if caught in a vicious circle of eternal haste. But feminine nature possesses inexhaustible strength, and there are women who carry themselves with special dignity, moving at a rhythm that requires neither approval nor apologies. They understand that their value is determined not by speed, but by the meaning they put into each step. This difference between fussiness and confidence is so obvious to an attentive man that he grasps it almost instantly. The ability to control oneself, self-control, is still one of the most powerful and underestimated virtues. A woman who does not succumb to impulsive reactions, does not allow fleeting emotions to capture her, does not turn every misunderstanding into a melodrama, exudes magnetic calmness in this chaotic world, full of superficial noise and endless irritants. She becomes a quiet haven, a reliable refuge. The priorities that guide a woman in her daily life become an eloquent message, even when she remains silent. It is not what she declares as her desires, but how she manifests herself in actions. A keen man pays attention to whether a woman's energy is directed towards creation, building, and development, or whether it is wasted on endless complaints, searching for excuses, and meaningless distractions. There are women who passively wait for changes in life without making any effort, while others, despite all obstacles, confidently move towards their dreams. This subtle but significant difference is of great importance. When it comes to mentality, gratitude occupies a special place. There are women who are used to complaining, see negativity even in the most favorable circumstances, and turn every conversation into a list of problems. But there are also those who, without having much, always find a reason to be grateful. Whether it's a cup of fragrant coffee, a kind word, or a valuable lesson learned from a failure. The ability to listen, a rare quality in the modern world, is another sign of high emotional intelligence that requires no further explanation. It's not just about being silent while another person is talking, but about being fully present, with your whole body, mind, and heart. Some women believe that strength lies in always being right, speaking louder, and never yielding. However, experienced men understand that true strength is revealed in deep listening, in responses dictated by understanding rather than ego, and in striving for creation rather than imposing one's own point of view. In this way, without loud pronouncements or memorized speeches, a woman leaves an indelible mark that no man who has learned to see can ever forget.